If someone told you that building your author platform could feel just as meaningful as writing your book, would you believe them? Well, my guest today not only believes it, she lives it. My friend Becky Kopitzke is an author, co-host of the Girlfriend's Guide to an Empty Nest podcast, and a business coach for Christian women who are fulfilling their calling to write and publish. We're getting practical today, and Becky's sharing a simple way she defines an author platform and how you can grow your own, how to start making money before your book is done and pay for it, and a joint giveaway strategy that she's used to add over 10,000 Right Fit subscribers to her email list. You're in for a treat today on Book Marketing Mania, so let's get to it. Hey, Becky, welcome back to Book Marketing Mania. I'm so thrilled you're here to serve my listeners today.
Oh, thank you, Kim. It's always a joy to talk with you. So I'm really excited about our conversation. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, me too. So let's just start off Becky, with platform, the word platform, because I know authors don't love that word.
No, they don't.
But we hear it a lot, especially
it's a dirty word.
Yeah, that's right. It's a dirty word. But it is something we need as authors, right? Yeah. Can you tell us, so from your perspective, how you define platform and what that means for authors?
Absolutely. A platform is simply an audience of people who are interested in your work. And you can build a platform before you have a book to write. In fact, you should build a platform before you have a book to write, because otherwise, who's going to buy the book? So in addition to my own coaching work, I also do quite a bit of coaching with the Author Conservatory, which is a program for college alternative program for young authors. And this is a key factor that we talk about in that program for those students who really just want to write. They just want to write their novels. They're primarily fiction writers. They just want to write the novel, but then we help them understand, why are they writing the novel? And it's the same for fiction, nonfiction writers of all ages. We're writing because there's a reader out there who needs to hear it. We're writing not just because it's fun, something we love to do, but because there is a reader who will be our ultimate consumer. And how are we going to attract those readers unless we start talking about what we do or what our message is or what our philosophies are, whether it's related exactly to the topic of your book or just to your philosophies in general that are surrounding the topic of your book. Getting out into a public space and talking about those things and attracting like-minded people, that is what a platform is. It's essentially finding an audience who is interested in what you have to say and will engage in a conversation with you over it. And you could do that in so many ways. Social media, email, podcasting. There are so many ways to build a platform, but it's essentially just a group of people who are interested in what you have to say.
Yeah, I love that definition so much, because I was thinking, for somebody like you that I've known forever, Becky, like just, you've been blogging, you've got multiple books on different topics, but you bring this audience along with you, and they just stick around with you because they love what you have to say. And then it's like, hey, I have these resources if you want to check them out. Exactly. But you still want to take that audience with you, versus what I feel like there's so much out there noise about, sell, sell, sell. And it's all about book sales. And I'm like, that's not really what it's all about, and I don't think any of us get into it for that reason, right?
No, we don't. And if all we're ever doing is having conversations about why you should buy my book, then you're not actually of value to anybody.
Yeah.
We want to have conversations that are of value. Think about, would you talk to a friend across the table at a coffee shop and say, buy my book? No. Yeah. What would you say to that friend? That's what you need to be talking about in your online spaces so that you can be building that platform of people who are truly interested in what you have to say, not just what you're selling.
Yeah, that's so good. And I wanted to ask you about, does platform just relate to the traditional publishing world? That's where you hear that word the most, but really it's everywhere, right? But you can think of it in a different terminology. Then it's not just numbers, right? It's not just numbers of people that are going to buy your book, right? It's really a community you're serving. I love how you explain that so much. So because you have been at this for years, Becky, what have you seen just in more recent years, the struggles that writers and authors are going through to get in touch with that audience and bring them along for the ride?
That's a great question. I have seen over the years a real shift to social media being the heaviest piece of the pie, or the largest piece of the pie, I suppose you could say, from a publisher's standpoint. Now, I think this is starting to come back around, but when I started, the recommendation was start a blog because this was 15 years ago and everybody, it was the mommy blogger era. So we all were writing blogs and that's how we built an audience. And then podcasting came into play and kind of took over for blogs. Now blogging is coming back again with especially in Substack, but social media has grown to the point where I remember being at a women's conference 10 years ago and someone had 25,000 Facebook followers and was considered just a goddess. Oh my goodness, you have 25,000 Facebook followers. Now that's considered relatively small. So the expectations from a publisher to have a large platform or audience on social media has grown to the point where it's out of reach for most average people. But I think it's starting to come back around because what we're finding is that a large social media audience, we're proving, doesn't translate to sales. So if you can show 100,000 Facebook followers or Instagram followers, but those people are just casual onlookers, not buyers, then it's not actually doing a service to a publisher. So what they really want to see is engagement. How many people in your audience are paying attention to you, having conversations with you, which goes back to the idea of you're not just asking them to buy something, you're having conversations, you're sharing thoughts that are going to be thought-provoking. You establish yourself as a thought leader so that people trust you and want to hear more from you. So engagement, and then also sales. Have you sold something that's not your book? If you can show a publisher that you know how to sell a digital product or an online course or a service such as freelance writing, that means something to a publisher. They see that now you have some business savvy that somebody with 100,000 Instagram followers who's never sold a thing doesn't have and can't offer. So platform, I think, went on this trajectory to where it was a heightened increase in wanting social media followers, now to the point where we're realizing, yes, we still want social media followers, but really what we want is for you to be able to show that your platform is engaging with you and potentially buying something from you even before this book comes out. So the methods by which platform is built have changed. Like I said, it started with a blog and then it's social media. A lot of people want to know, do you have podcast listeners? Now there's, like I said, greater focus on Substack. The methods may change, but the principles don't, which is, do you have an audience of people who are interested in what you're saying, which goes back to what we said initially. What is a platform? It's people who trust you and want to hear from you and that you're engaging with authentically and that you want to serve from a heart of service, not just what can they give me, but what can I give them? To me, that's the most important piece of building a platform.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so true. Yeah, it means so much. And that's why we stick around with our favorite authors like you, and you just keep in touch with them and you're excited about what they have coming up. And, you just hear so much like when somebody sits down with a publisher and it's all about the platform and the numbers. And it's like, okay, so now I got to go get all these email subscribers. I got to go get all these podcast downloads. I got to build my social media. But yet they're just so focused on that number, not like you're saying, serving them. And, are you building an engaged audience at all? And, you might be getting people on your email list, but are you even emailing them? Like
exactly.
So much to it,
there is. And one thing I think authors don't want to think about is that writing is only half the job. As you know, Kim, the other half is marketing, but marketing can be just as enjoyable as the writing because if your writing is meant to serve an audience, so is your platform building meant to serve an audience. So if you can look at your writing as a whole, as a ministry, now I'm not saying you don't make money from it. You absolutely ought to make money from it. But with a heart of ministry, if that's the foundation, then writing and building and serving the platform can be equally meaningful for a writer.
Yeah. I think so too. Like just not thinking of it as a burden, but a blessing. You're right. You're really blessing your readers and you're just letting them know, hey, here's a way I can help you. And
exactly.
I know that's sometimes easier said than done. Okay, you've mentioned it a couple of times. I definitely want to talk about monetizing. So, as I mentioned before, Becky was on the show 140 episodes ago, which is crazy.
Way.
Right?
I love it. I
so crazy to talk about earning book marketing money by selling digital products. So that's what we talked about back then. And so I'd love just to hear from you, now, like as writers are looking at how can I make at least a little bit of money to pay for, some of these things I'm doing in writing and publishing. What have you seen change and, what are you seeing working nowadays?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do still lean toward digital products. Digital products may be changing a little bit in that the market has become, I don't want to say it's saturated, but more people are savvy to digital products. More people are creating them, selling them. There are more tools available now to enable writers to sell digital products. And certainly with the onset of AI, it is harder for an audience to trust a digital product. So in order to sell one, you need to be able to somehow establish yourself from a sea of AI generated content to establish that this was human created, if that's the audience you're serving. Now, there are audiences who don't mind if your content is AI created. And there are actually some audiences who want to better learn how to use AI to create a digital product. So there are two sides of that coin. And, we don't certainly need to have that argument today. But because of AI, there are more digital products on the market, just like there are more books on the market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So differentiating yourself from a sea of AI content is one consideration. But also, I think people are becoming more savvy to what's available. And many of them want, how do I say this? They either want really in-depth coaching. Give me what I need to know from A to Z. I want you to cover all the material, answer all the questions. I want hand-holding through this process. That is one side of the value in what we can provide to an audience. And on the other side, they just want quick wins. Just either a quick video or a quick download, something that's a quick win. Because I have found that in audiences, anybody's audience, their attention spans continue to decline. So either you're going to find a customer who wants to go all in, or a customer who does not have the time or the energy to receive more than a quick win from you. And if you keep those things in mind in determining what are you going to offer to monetize, it can be simple solutions as a digital offer. It can be freelance work. So if you're an experienced writer or editor, then consider taking on some editing work. Consider offering yourself as a freelance writer. Or what are you an expert in? What are you writing the book about, right? So I had a client once who was an expert in healthy eating. That was what her book was about. It was about building healthy habits into your lifestyle. She was coaching people on this at the same time she was writing a book about it. So if you look at your area of expertise, where are you establishing yourself as a thought leader? What other ways can you serve your audience other than with a book? So that's where the monetization comes in. People think I just need to write a book because it gives me validity, or, gives me credibility. It gives me something to sell from the stage if I'm a speaker. But what else can you create with your expertise that can generate some income in addition to the book? And ultimately, in my experience, coaching, digital products, freelance work is actually where the majority of your money is going to come from. It's not going to be from the book sales.
Yeah.
The book essentially becomes a calling card. But if you don't have the book, then you don't have the calling card. So it all works together. Some people wait to create their products or deliver their services until after they have a book out. Others use their platform building as an opportunity to sell things, and then the book comes out. You can do it either way. But ultimately, monetization comes in so many forms besides just the book.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so good to talk about, because people are trying to figure out how to market their books, and they feel like, okay, God called me to write this book, so I've got to do my due diligence to get it out there, which is true, right?
Yes.
But I think sometimes we get so focused on that, we don't realize that, wait, you have these readers. I mean, your audience, I guess I should say, because, some of them are readers, some of them aren't, some of them want to listen to your book, right?
That's true.
Or some of them, like you said, they need more help, or like either they finished the book and they need more help, or maybe they just are only looking for help. They're not necessarily looking for a book yet,
Right.
and yeah, why would you withhold what all you know and how you can help them, and just, offer it up to them some other way, which you're so good about this. So Becky, what are you seeing working for, if you do have some kind of, whether it's your book or a digital product or coaching, what are you seeing working for people to get the message out and, sell some things?
Yeah. You know what I'm really loving lately, Kim, is DM automations on social media. Now, I do still experiment with ads in terms of getting your message out, finding new people, breaking into cold audiences. But I'm finding on social media, if you can capture that audience, get them onto your email list, and then, of course, use email marketing. Email marketing is still very effective for me. I think it's still key. But if you have a younger audience, consider, rather than email marketing, going with an SMS channel, using text marketing instead. But I am having a lot of success with creating essentially a sales funnel. I still believe in sales funnels. It's essentially just a journey you take your customer through in order to introduce your product, experience some of what you know, and then make a decision to purchase your product. And I'm using DM automations quite a bit on Instagram, no longer on Facebook, because Facebook, I believe, is starting to charge for them. As long as it's still free on Instagram, I'll do it. So a post that is very organic, talks about your content, gives a call to action, and then you tell people comment such and such, and I will send you whatever it is. You can send them to a lead magnet, which then directs to a sales page afterwards, or you can send them directly to a sales page. But I find that that's the best organic way to get people who are interested in your content to hear about something that you sell without feeling like they're being sold to.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm finding to be excellent. That and just more personal conversations. I'm leaning into threads quite a bit these days.
Yeah.
Instagram's tool threads, because it's just more conversation. I am finding, though, a lot of people on threads are only there to sell something.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
would say differentiate by actually engaging in conversations that aren't an obvious pitch to sell. Truly
Mm-hmm.
care about people, talk about what matters to you, talk about what matters to them, build actual relationships, and then pepper in opportunities to purchase something from you. But the core messaging has to be you care about people and you want to have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the social media end. I also really, really believe, Kim, in the power of podcasting
Mm-hmm.
to grow your audience, to tell people about something that you're creating, whether it's a book or it's a program, because it's such beautiful relationship marketing. It's conversation with people. And then giving somebody the opportunity to learn more about you because you've already had a great conversation that helps them understand the value of the topic that you stand for. So there are just so many ways that we can promote our work. But I find for me, my favorite is still partner marketing, relationship marketing. So it's going to be podcasts. It's going to be doing an Instagram live with somebody. It's going to be doing a lead magnet swap. And I'm going to find another creator and say, would you like to share my lead magnet with your audience? And I'll share your lead magnet with my audience. And let's just bless each other
Mm-hmm.
with not just new subscribers, but I don't offer what you offer in a lead magnet, right? So Kim, let's say you've got some fabulous guide on how to run a marathon. And I know that my audience would love to know how to run a marathon because they want to get healthy this summer. So I don't know how to run a marathon, so I'm going to tell my audience about it and they're going to be blessed by that. And likewise, there's something I create that you don't create, but you know your audience will be blessed by. That's a great partnership. I find partnerships where it's mutual blessing it's actually a triple blessing. It's each of the creators is blessed and the audience is blessed. So to me, that's where I find the most growth is through partner marketing. In particular, what's really working for me lately are joint giveaways.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the giveaways because you had
Yeah.
mentioned that. So tell us, because I know those have even changed a little bit from what we used to see online.
They have. And so I think the key for a really solid giveaway, and I actually learned this strategy. I've got to give Rebecca George credit, and I don't know where she learned it from, but I was in a joint giveaway with her, and it was wonderfully successful. And I have hosted a few of my own using a similar format. They've been wonderfully fruitful. I'm talking like 10,000 subscribers plus for each giveaway, and these are right fit subscribers. So essentially what we do is a group of 10 of us will collectively pool our resources into one grand prize. So a $500 to $1,000 prize. So everybody contributes $50 to $100, which is dirt cheap if you're talking about getting 5 to 10,000 subscribers, right? For depending on the audience size that your partners have. But we will contribute towards something meaningful according to a theme. So for example, we did a Mother's Day Mac giveaway about a year ago. We gave away a laptop. We've given away a $500 gift card to Amazon over Christmas. It was Christmas shopping money. But the beauty of that is there's a second prize for everybody. And the second prize is a bundle of free gifts from all 10 hosts. So you can use your lead magnet. You can use some other resource that you sell and you're offering it for free as a part of the incentive to join this giveaway. And so everyone is blessed with 10 resources and there's one grand prize winner. So the grand prize is something appealing. And then there is this bundle of resources, but we lock it down so that every single person on the host team serves a similar audience. So I'm not going to be asking somebody who, let's say, speaks to Christian fathers, because I don't serve men for my writing ministry. I'm serving women. So I don't want a bunch of men on my list. So my partner is going to be somebody who serves women in midlife with biblical truth and parenting advice. So I'm going to find 9 other women who serve a similar audience. And then we'll use an app like King Sumo, but we'll lock it down so that we don't give people extra points for sharing it because we don't want them to share it. We don't want them to go beyond our target audience. And then we end up with very useful, right fit leads. And we take turns then sending our free resources afterwards, and we build a relationship with these subscribers. And this has helped me sincerely grow my email list, which then in the traditional publishing arena looks more significant to a publisher. And then if you can use effective email marketing strategies to get good open rates, it's just a really healthy way to grow your audience. So again, but how are you doing it? With partners. It's relationship building.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so important for writers to get out of their shell and to interact with other writers, to build relationships with other writers so that together, it's the rising tide lifts all boats, right? So that's why I love partner marketing so much. And it's been really effective for me. And I encourage others to do it because it's all about blessing each other and blessing the audiences. And why do we do this? Why do we write anything unless it's to serve readers?
So true. Yeah. And we can serve so many more, right? When we work together, for sure.
Yes.
So I know we could talk for hours, Becky. Okay. So Becky, tell us how writers can work with you. So I know you have a variety of ways that you serve writers and authors today. So tell us about those.
Oh, thank you for asking, Kim. So I right now am running with Tracy Miles, who was the former Compel Writers director. She and I are working together to offer this wonderful program we're so excited about. It's called Authorize Academy. We are just wrapping up our first cohort and we're opening doors for the second. Authorize Academy is a 4-month journey where we take writers through the entire spectrum from solidifying your idea, making sure that your writing is solid, how to formulate a chapter, how to formulate your whole idea into a progression that makes sense to the reader. Whether you already have a book idea or whether you already have a book written, it's valuable that first stage to go through the process and examine your book idea, your finished manuscript through that trajectory. But then we take our clients through not just how to write the book, but how to write a book proposal, how to choose between self and traditional publishing, how to grow your platform, and how to monetize. So it's a 4-month journey where I mentioned earlier, people are either wanting quick wins or they're wanting somebody to hold their hand through the whole process. And that's what makes our program unique is that we don't just teach you how to write the book, how to choose a publisher, how to get an agent. We take you through the entire process, not expecting our clients to have completed a manuscript or found an agent at the end. We are just giving them the resources to be able to journey through with us, alongside us, live calls, that kind of thing. But then they'll be on their own pace so that by the time we wrap up, they will know everything they need to know to move on to the next step. So that's called Authorize Academy. And we're so excited about this program. It's been going really well. So it's authorizeacademy.com. And I can share a link with you, Kim, if anybody's interested. We're opening up doors for the next cohort. But then in addition to that, I do it's not my own program, but I do a lot of work with the Author Conservatory, which is, again, it's a college alternative program. So it's for students ages 18 to 25, roughly, who are primarily focused on fiction. So it's not necessarily your core audience, but if there's anybody out there, or if there's a parent out there who's got a student who loves to write, then I love working with those students. So that program is a 3-year alternative to college where you actually learn how to write publishable material. And it's different from an English major or creative writing major where you spend 4 years learning theory, but never actually learn how to write your own book or walk into the publishing space. So it's very much a trade school for young novelists is kind of how we look at it. And I teach the business side there.
Oh, yay.
I love it. Yes, but thank you for asking. And then if anybody's interested, my own website, BeckyKopitzke.com, is where I write. I write my own devotions, blog posts once a week, and working on the next book. So I love being in a position to be able to serve readers and to serve writers. I just feel like God has really blessed me with an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, for sure. You are definitely a blessing to us, Becky. And yeah, just to teach us about really have a God honoring platform, right? And how we reach people. And then, that monetization isn't a bad word, and we think platform and monetization together. We're like, stay away from those two. But yeah, it can be such a blessing for your readers and your family. So yeah, that's so good. Well, thank you so much. I'll be sure and put links in all the show notes for all those good resources. And I just so appreciate your time always, Becky.
I appreciate you, Kim. Thank you so much for inviting me. So fun to talk with you today.
Oh gosh, wasn't that so good? My big takeaway and best news from Becky is that you don't have to be the loudest to build a real audience. You just have to show up consistently to serve and have genuine conversations with your readers. And that's something you can do today, no matter where you are in your writing journey. Ooh, best news ever, right? Now, if Becky's mention of freelancing got your wheels turning, you're going to love my next episode. Alicia Avant is a virtual assistant working specifically with Christian authors, and we're talking about what a VA can actually do for you, how to find the right one, and if you've got skills of your own, how you might even become one yourself. Thanks for tuning into Book Marketing Mania, and as always, I'll be there for you next episode to help you reach and serve your readers one podcast at a time. See you then.